Hello everyone, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree, and in this video we're going to go ahead and talk about the new characters that came out alongside the Sparking Bardock and Frieza, and well, those two as well. But anyways, we're going to talk about the new characters that came out on the newest banner and how they can be good in this game. Certain scenarios, tough competition they would have based on color, good matchup they would have versus opposite colors, and things of that nature. So I do hope you all enjoyed today's video, and hope you guys have a good day as well, and a happy weekend, by the way, even though it's not something to celebrate, but maybe it is for some of you guys. So anyways, we're going to jump into the breakdown without further ado. So the only characters that came out on the new batch were these Kabbas. There's a couple Kabbas in here. Again, the previous banner had like this Goku and the androids and stuff, but there's a couple Kabbas, and then we also have the Frieza and the Bardock. And I'm pretty sure I'm not missing anybody, but forgive me if I am. We need a color sorter right here, though. I'm gonna tell Renzi to add that, add a color sorter on the character page. Anyways, so to start off, speaking of colors, we have a blue Kaba. He's another full-blooded Saiyan. If you didn't know that, I mean, now you know. But anyways, he's a full-blooded Saiyan, meaning he's getting access to all of the Saiyan buffs that were in the game. You know, I'll talk about that in a little bit because Bardock is another character that actually is finally supporting the Saiyan tag after actually like a couple of months of not supporting it. They were like, oh yeah, DFree said we're not going to do it. Watch this. So, anyways. Universe 6. So they are using Universe 6 as a trait. Of course, the only characters in the game right now are him and Frost, but probably Botamo and Magetta would be next, and then we'd work our way to hits and stuff like that. So we'll see what else happens as far as that's concerned. He is a range type character, so he's going to want to try to hit you from a distance. So we'll come down and look at his blast attack and see how good he is as far as that's concerned. And of course, God of Destruction, Champa Saga. So I don't know if that, well, I believe that they actually are supporting this with the other Kaba, but we'll get to that as well. Just that tag in general. So his stats are pretty solid. 318k at level 1500. That's not like great, but these are good stats for a hero character. That's the hardest issue that these hero characters faced in general. Like they don't have the natural stats to really be competitive, but they are pretty solid if you put the work into them. That's the thing. So anyways, if we move down, Scouter power level for him, by the way, would be 176k. Again, pretty solid, but I was able to get that, I believe, under level 1000 Sparkings. So I guess as we progress is where you really see the discrepancy between some of these units. Because I do want to actually just kind of really quickly pull up a Sparking and see the power level of him. Yeah, 225. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't joking when I said I was not too far away on those Sparking units. This one's a little bit lower, but yeah, that's kind of like the discrepancy, and it makes sense. He's a hero, right? So, anyways, moving on. Main ability, Universe 6 Saiyans, plus 35% to strike and blast damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. You are able to use that after 10 timer counts. I like this. I like it a lot because it's, you know, a lot of times when they have units like this, they're like, oh yeah, we'll give him a strike ability here, and then a blast ability here that increases, and things like that. I like that they're just saying, hey, we'll give you both plus 35%, which is a modest increase, and you can use it relatively quickly. So that's one of the advantages this character will have. Having a faster main ability is something that a lot of characters do or do not benefit from because they simply don't have it. So that gives him a leg up on the competition, if you will. By the way, I didn't really cover it. Average key restore speed, solid crit down there as well. Anyways, moving up. Unique ability, Rage, blast attack up, plus 5% to blast damage inflicted for each downed battle member. So he maxes out at plus 10%, which is, I guess, because you can only have 2 others, which, again, I guess, not really, like, that good, but okay. If it was, like, 10% per, maybe we'd be talking, but I don't really know. Galagun does nothing. All right, so moving on. We have the unlock key, form of attack, plus 15% to blast damage for 20 timer counts. Okay, so here's the deal. If you were to start off with a green card, or you start off with, I don't know. Well, you know, that's basically it. If you start off with a green card, which is very, very, very rarely, I would say, you would be able to proc several of these pretty much relatively quickly. Even if you don't start off with it, you know, you could use it or just pick it up at some point with, you know, Ginyu or whatever. If you're able to have it, you'd be able to, in certain scenarios, basically have all these buffs active for him. But I think that's too much work. It's good that he carries double blast cards, by the way. I think it's too much work. You know, you could do it, but collectively you'd be getting over like 50% or so, so that's good. Basically a maximum of 50% if 2 of your enemies are down, which is, why would I want them to go down just so one character can get a little bit better? You know, this is more of a luxury ability, not something you should try to capitalize on. So really, you're getting 50% between these two, and then you're getting another 10 here, so forgive me. My math was a little bit bad there. Anyways, so Z ability, plus 10% to max base health for blue characters. Now, I don't think there are a lot of elemental, like just element increases to HP, so this is actually pretty solid. Like, for example, with a character like, a lot of characters can really utilize this. A character like Krillin will be really good with this. A character like Broly can never have too much support. Frieza will be really good with this as well. So those are some key teammates if you wanted to really capitalize on Kaba, particularly if you have Broly, but you don't have the Raditz, because the Raditz also increases Saiyan Tag HP, but all three collectively on one team is actually pretty disgusting, especially if you actually use Raditz competitively for some reason. But just in general, just Kaba, Super Saiyan Broly, and Raditz on one team, that's a lot of HP going Broly's way, especially if you have a good one with some limit breaks or whatever. So that's a scenario Kaba's good in. He's not really like super great, especially because, like I said, Blue has a lot of competition. I mean, if we just look at the Blue characters right here, there's a lot of competition. He's not going to be used in a lot of scenarios, but he is solid. I will give him that. So moving on, we have the extreme version of Kaba. And again, same stuff applies to him. He's a support type here. Okay. Supports, in my eyes, a lot of times need to have really busted abilities because they just flat out are kind of, you know, middling in the stats, which is not too bad. I didn't really cover the previous Kaba stats, though. By the way, 26k, good number there. We have 32 here. So we have a unit that's not even a blast type or a range type, still exceeding that guy's number. But 358, 192, these are solid stats. Again, extreme character. Not on the level of Sparking, but these are good stats as well. Basically the same stuff here as the other one. A little bit worse key restore, actually. But moving on down below. So we have access to the main ability, Potential of the Warrior Race. -5 to the Ally Blast Arts cost for 10 timer counts. You have to wait 15 timer counts to use that. That's a good ability. And that epitomizes what a support type is. They're a character that has abilities, in a lot of scenarios anyway, that are able to be useful for your other characters, right? And that's a good ability. If you wanted to really cheese this, you know, you have other characters that exceed at doing blast damage, like the Purple Vegeta, for example. He's a really good ally for this guy. It's unfortunate that it's a main ability because you have to actually use him on your team, which means you probably want to invest in him some sort of souls and stuff like that so he gets higher level, etc., and he can kind of output damage himself and not be reliant on switching. So, but that's not a bad ability. I like it because, again, it just allows them to get cheaper cards cost. And so the Vegeta would be blasting those cards for 25 instead of 30 for 10 timer counts if you were to immediately switch, right? Speaking of Vegeta, he has unique abilities for being with Vegeta. So, again, they're basically wanting you to use him with a Vegeta. And just any of them, but probably I would say the ones that excel at Blast Arts because, again, this guy's really good at it. And he also holds at least one Blast card there. So, unique ability plus 15% to key recovery when... Okay, so his key recovery is not that good because if you bring him with Vegeta, it's faster. Gotcha. That makes sense. Blast attack up, plus 15% of blast damage for 15 timer counts when faced with an... So when you go up against a Vegeta, he gets 15% more blast damage, which again, that's his best stat anyway. As far as offense or defense, that's his best stat. So being able to output there, and he can also... I assume this applies to him. I assume this applies to him as well. So being able to get the cheaper cost should help him out significantly, especially because he can, from there, if he's up against Vegeta, you know, he can get a leg up against Vegeta because of the fact that he has access to being 15% stronger blast-wise. Galagun does impact damage and a 15% of critical rate for 10 timer counts. Not bad. Moving on, unlock key form of speed, plus 25% to own vanishing gauge meter, or recovery, excuse me, for 10. Interesting. A fourth of the time faster is basically what that's saying. He'd be recovering the vanish meter after just a couple of hits or just being stagnant there. You know, again, you can't really recover, I believe, if you're charging and things like that. But otherwise, that's not bad. It's not bad, especially if it's cheap, which it unfortunately really isn't. It costs 30, which is a bit. That's actually quite expensive. If it was like 15, I'd be like, yo, okay, now we're talking. But 30 is kind of like, I don't know. But it's a good ability, though. Anyways, especially when in tandem with being able to get the key recovery up. So, all right. So we are actually supporting the God of Destruction Saga base strike attack during battle. So these wow, strike attack? Screw off, bro. He wants blast attack. Maybe Frost. I believe Frost doesn't care, though. He's a defense type. I don't think Frost cared. I'm not going to go over him right now. But yeah, average stats there, pretty much the same. More strike and blast. Yeah, Frost doesn't care. And the Z ability strike and blast, he doesn't really care. But Kaba does kind of care because everything he wants to do is a blast. And of course, maybe in the future, like when they drop the hit on you, when they drop a hit, when they drop a Champa, like, yo, okay, they'll probably want the strike damage. So that's pretty good. So all right. I think this character, like right now, he doesn't really have a lot of targets. Like there's not a lot of units I would like to use him with aside from Vegeta's, or in the future whenever we get access to, and you can see the main Vegetas you'd even consider, all the Vegetas actually here. You know, maybe in the future when we get access to having more units that can benefit from that Z ability, kind of similar to how Pan came out and it was like, oh, she's the only character with this Z ability right now. And then now all of a sudden she's a lot better because we have Android 18, and Android 18 and Pan work really well in tandem because of the Z abilities that they have. So that's my criticisms of Kaba right now. I think that he's a solid green character, which green is interesting because I think that when it comes to green, there's not a lot of Saiyan support there. There's only like a few that are actually even relative, I would say, to being used. Of course, there's 3 extremes, but still, there's not a lot of Saiyans unless you have Bardock there. So if you wanted to go pure Saiyans, like just a pure Saiyan team, and really just kind of capitalize on their Z abilities, especially the older Saiyans, you know, you'd probably consider running Kaba. I'd probably consider running Vegeta though, but it just kind of comes down to what you really want to do. Turles is really good as well, but of course the blue field is really, it's kind of like, oh, there's a lot of good blues, right? Even this Goku, who now gets overlooked, is still an amazing unit. So I don't know. We'll have to see how Kaba shakes out. I think in the future he'd be a lot better. So now we have access to Frieza, and Frieza actually is the first character that's able to fly through the Blast Arts cards. I guess the freaking pod he's in deflects them or something. I don't know. It must protect him, okay? Anime original sagas. I like that they did that because if you didn't know, the Bardock movie wasn't a movie. It was a special. It's not a movie. So like they actually called it anime original. That's different. I like that a lot. Anyways, I like their efforts in continuity here in this game. They try to make it really, really follow that type of thing. So moving on, very, very good stats here from Frieza, of course, as you would expect. Key restore is out the roof. That's insane. That's an insane number. A little bit below average here, but who cares? That's an insane number. It's not the highest, but it is way up there. I always try to go back to Pan because she's basically the gold standard, and I've always said that. 26. Frieza is really good, especially if he has anything else that allows him to take advantage of that. So moving on down below, Nefarious Gambit, draw a special move arts card next, plus 50% to own special move arts power. Wow. Wow. Okay, he's going to hit you really hard with a special move. Wow, that supernova is going to hit you very, very hard. Okay, and that's the main ability. Okay, plus 50% for 10 timer counts. Requirements: 20 timer counts must elapse. So like, for example, and it doesn't just apply to one. Like if he was with a character like the Goku, for example, the purple Goku that draws a special arts card, this guy right here. For example, you could, if you had the 100 energy, right, the key, you could really cheese Frieza's ability, you know, like draw a special move card here. You could really cheese Frieza's ability and just do insane amounts of damage. So, okay, unique ability, Anti-Saiyan. Okay, all right. Anti-Saiyan is like, that's the top ability you can have in the game right now, pretty much, because the whole game's Saiyan. So anyways, plus 40% of blast damage inflicted against Tag Saiyan. And the cool thing about this Frieza having an ability like that is that this is going to age incredibly well. I mean, like, in the future, when we have access to Gogetas, Vegetos, and stuff like that, like, it doesn't matter. Ultra Instinct Goku, this will always be a thing. This will always be a thing. And that is going to age incredibly well. It doesn't matter. Even if we get better buffs than 40%, he'll still be a unit that will be in consideration. And I like that attention to detail when it comes to these types of things because, again, that'll always be a factor in this game. By the way, he's a range type, if you couldn't tell. Supernova deals major explode damage, plus 25% to own special move arts power for 10 timer counts. Cannot be nullified by most other special moves. Wow! So it actually wins? Holy crap. Holy crap. Wow. Okay. So to reiterate, when you have the special moves, right, you'll either have one or two things happen. When you both launch them at the same time, yours and theirs will just kind of dissipate into nothingness. There will also be times where you'll be able to have them kind of clash. You'll actually see the clash. If you haven't seen the clash, it's pretty cool. It's like almost like the actual fist clash. It even gives you the little tap timer thing. That's another thing that happens, but not as commonly. But what this is saying is basically it's going to get through that type of stuff, if I'm understanding this correctly. If this basically always wins, which would make sense because, I mean, Bardock threw his everything. This is for you. And it just, like, Frieza was like, oh, ha, 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 here's mine. So, I mean, it would make sense thematically, but, like, if that's the case, that's insane. Especially because this couples with this. So, all of a sudden, your first one is okay if you were able to pop those both off. If you don't even need the Goku, that's the sad thing. But if you really wanted to run the Goku, like I was mentioning earlier, you could. But you really don't even need him, because what happens is Frieza can pick up his own. Like, for example, he'll just have his own special move. And this isn't the 21. This is the 51 that they're talking about here. So, like, if you just randomly drew that card and then used your main ability, you can still pop 2 off. And the second one would have a 75 or whatever this is, 100% increase. I don't know, man. But the second one would be insane. The second one would be insane, bro. Especially if you did it right thereafter. Even if you missed the first one. And his key restore is through the roof, basically. I like this guy. This is really good. That's really good. -5. Oh, okay. Telekinesis too. So it's actually a 45 arts cost to use the Supernova. All right, cool. Yeah, perfect. Anybody? Ginyu, anybody? I'm going to run that Ginyu with the Frieza. Watch me do it. This guy's really good. Blue base strike and defense. Base strike attack and defense, excuse me. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of blue support here that just came out, so. All right, Frieza's really good. Bardock! And like I said, Frieza can also fly through that, the characters and stuff like that, the attacks. So that helps out a lot. So our last character we're going to go over is Bardock. So yeah, Bardock. He's a melee type unit. He wants to rush you, right? 40k strike attack. Yeah, he wants to pound your face in. Above average here. Again, pretty much average number here. I will defeat you. All enemies are switch restricted for 10 timer counts. That's insane. That is an insane ability because, you know, a lot of people are switch happy. And of course, I don't blame them because that's the only way to defend in this game, but it can't be denied people are switch happy. But if they're switching repeatedly, you can stop that for at least 10 seconds, basically, while you still have your switches if you need them. That's invaluable, man. That's invaluable. And then also on top of that, he also gets plus 40% to strike damage inflicted. And he can use it relatively fast. 15 is, you know, not bad. You know, 20 is a lot worse, but 15 is not bad. So 40% increase, locking them down for 10 seconds. That's really good. Because it literally, if you have a matchup versus a blue character, Broly, for example, you have a strong chance that in this time, while he's locked in there, especially if you did any damage prior, that you're going to eliminate that character. And that cannot be overstated. Locking them into a battle with you, especially in a game like this that does not have things like a block or things of that nature, like, you are going to have a very good chance at basically kicking their butt. Okay. So moving on, the Saiyan Trader, plus 30% to strike damage inflicted when 2 allies are downed. So when they've been doing this a bit, I think since that Goku I was talking about, they've been giving these characters buffs when they're basically the last character standing. So they're doing that here. Plus 30% when 2 allies are down, plus 35% to strike damage inflicted for each downed enemy. What? 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 This man is legit getting #what? This man's legit getting an insane amount of boosts here with this unique ability. You don't even have to do anything. It's just always active. Holy crap. Plus 20% to key recovery when a Saiyan is a battle member. Wow, that's so freaking specific or generic. I mean, okay, well, this is not bad at all because it doesn't matter anymore if you bring him with a Saiyan. Wow, Bardock. Okay. Deals major explode damage, plus 20% to Owen's special move arts power. Okay. So there we go again for 15 timer counts. The 15 is actually significant. That's actually very significant because he doesn't have an ability that allows him to auto-draw one like Frieza did. For example, Frieza. This guy is a really good character to be used with the Goku for that exact reason, too. He's triggering. Goku's triggering this. It doesn't really matter which one's the last one standing. Like, I actually really like that tandem. And then, of course, the increase in the ability to auto-draw that extra card. Quiet Rage, plus, yeah, it didn't really matter what his number was. It didn't really matter what this was. Plus 50% to key recovery and cancel attribute downgrades. Wow, okay, and it's only 20. What was Frieza's at? The telekinesis. That's pretty cheap, too. And until you level it up, of course. But only 20 is actually really good. And then to top it all off, he even gets double arts cards. Wow, why couldn't Gohan get this treatment? Why couldn't the Gohan get double? Gohan is like the only other character, aside from maybe Broly, who gets this insane number of strike increases. And look what they did to him. Look what they did. Wow, Bardock. Bardock is legit. Like, he's probably a top 5 character right now, especially because he's a green character. He's able to heavy counter those blues like that damn Broly. So yeah, and then the sad thing about this is if he's your last character and then you pop the main ability, he's getting insane amount of boosts here. The sad thing though is about this though, on a side note, is that he can't. These don't seem to work together. It's kind of like, oh, when there's this. Well, I guess I don't really know. It doesn't say if it's down. I think they still work regardless. It's just if you start the battle with another Saiyan, he gets this automatically, which would be a automatic always active thing. By the way, that's insane. And you know, a lot of times when they do stuff like that, they give these characters like 1200 or 1400 or something stupid like that. But he's at almost 18. That's not bad. So he's gonna be recovering basically as fast as Frieza, which is pretty awesome. Wow. I don't really have much else to say. I think that these characters are really good, and they have a lot of good scenarios. Of course, outright Saiyan team. Do I think that he replaces Piccolo as a green option on a Saiyan team? No, because I think you should just run them together. When it comes down to it, the reason why Piccolo is still so good is the cover damage. Cover damage is insane, right? Cover damage is insane. And also this right here, 50%, and then also the ally heal. Like, those two things are what makes him an amazing, one of the best units in the game still, no matter how many units come out. And I'm not joking, like, he's among the most popular characters. They did the poll and everything. He is the most popular character in the game, as far as PvP is concerned. So, okay. So, like, yeah, I think when it comes down to it, you would still probably run both of them, and then your pick of the litter between the other Saiyans. The sad thing about the newer Saiyans is they're not doing the whole Saiyan support thing. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. They're just doing the monocolor thing, you know, which is good, but not good. But what kind of happens is with the monocolors on a rainbow team is that they're basically just supporting themselves, which is why I said for a while, Bandai stopped doing this. Which, by the way, this guy has the same Z ability as the Bardock, so you run them together, Bardock's getting an insane amount of melee boost. So, yeah, they stopped doing that as much, but, yeah. I don't know, man. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Subscribe if you were new. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have an awesome day, and I will catch you all in the next Dragon Ball Legends video.